One day, I'm going to come up with something a little more clever than, well, we've got a lot to talk about tonight, don't we? So I'm going to try, we have a great many things to talk about tonight. Let's talk about NXT. What's going on, everybody? It's your buddy, it's your pal, Phoenix, the YWC Reality Check, here with, eventually, your NXT review for July 3rd, 2019. And I say eventually because we got a lot of other stuff to talk about before we get to that. First and foremost, I should say, for those of you living in North America, for those of you around the rest of the world, I do see you, and I know this doesn't apply to you, so sorry in advance to my fellow Canadians. I want to say a belated Happy Canada Day to my fellow American friends out there. I don't say fellow, that's weird because I'm not American. South of the border, happy preemptive 4th of July to all of you. Now, I hope you guys did something good. I spent a really, really lazy long weekend. I'm not going to lie. Saw my nephews. That was really cool. Maybe stepped outside during Raw to watch some of the fireworks that were happening across the road. That was about it for me. Super lazy, and I was totally okay with that. Now, 4th of July in the States, I know there's a little bit more bombast to my southern neighbors and their celebrations. So whatever you are doing, however you are celebrating your 4th of July, I hope you're all good. I hope you all have a good time. I hope you're all safe. I hope you're not all getting shit-faced in bad ways. Maybe you're trying to forget about Raw and SmackDown. I really don't know what to tell you, but grand celebrations to all. And if there's anybody else somewhere else in the world celebrating something else that I don't know about because I'm just that ignorant, happy whatever that is to you. Now, I don't speak very much about Raw and SmackDown on here. You guys know that. I am going to talk in great detail when we talk about Extreme Rules with Kristen / Guapo / one of them, both of them, and me. We are going to talk about the Eric Bischoff, Paul Heyman takeovers of Raw and SmackDown respectively, but I will say Monday Night Raw, SmackDown was SmackDown. It just was what it was, sadly enough. Raw had two big things on it, and I want to address them really, really quickly just because they are a talking point right now. AJ reforming the club. I want to believe that it's going to be good. You got AJ, who people were getting sick of, and the club, who weren't even getting TV time. Let's throw them together and give them something. It reeks of, you know, let's recollect DX, let's reunite the Shield, etc. I want to believe against that. Sorry, guys, I've still been sick. I'm sick always, so my nose is itchy. If it looks like I'm picking my nose, I'm not, but if it makes you laugh to assume that I am, go for it. Reuniting the thing, too sweet, and yeah, everybody's like, oh, it's because they're taking a shot at AEW, but as far as I know, the Bullet Club isn't a thing in AEW, so that really doesn't work. So we'll see where that goes. The spot at the beginning, the breaking of the LED board on the rampway. Let me tell you something, because I got a lot of shit for this on Twitter, and I want to put this out there in as clear a way as I possibly can. Great spot. Great way to kick off the night. Great follow-up throughout the show. Many, many replays. Leaving it broken so that every time somebody made their entrance to the ring, we were reminded of that spot at the beginning of the night. The way they shot it, the way they shot the after effects of it, the way they let the announcers swear, which shouldn't be a thing, but is most definitely a thing. All of that was absolutely fantastic, but they wasted it on a feud that nobody gives a shit about, and that's what I have a problem with. Nobody cares about Lashley. Anybody left that cares about Strowman doesn't care about Strowman versus Lashley. This was a wasted spot. This could have been a great thing if they hadn't already ruined Lars Sullivan, let's just say. Let's just say Lars Sullivan wants to prove himself. He calls out Roman Reigns, just as an example. People don't like Roman Reigns. And people, you know, Sullivan's from NXT, so, you know, he's got a little bit of that, you know, let's not ruin him just quite yet. And he would get cheered to the rafters for putting somebody like Roman Reigns through the LED. Now, I know in real life, apparently, this is to write off Braun Strowman because he's got to go and deal with some legitimate medical thing. But we shouldn't get cool shit like this just because somebody needs to leave. You should do it because either something's starting or something's escalating or something's finishing. So my problem with it, for those of you that misunderstood me on Twitter, misunderstood me in various comment sections and chats on other people's videos, etc., I do not have a problem with the spot, and I do not think the spot was done badly. I think the spot, as awesome as it was and as well played out as it was, and the way it was filmed and the way it was reacted, the way it was backed up, throughout the rest of the night, the way it was backed up on SmackDown. All of that was great. All of that was great. They wasted it on two guys I could not give a shit less about. And that is really the problem. And as far as anything else that went on Raw, yeah, there were a lot of differences. We're going to talk about it. SmackDown had a few differences. If that progresses throughout the course of next week when we do the preview for Extreme Rules, and you know that at this point I'm using the pay-per-view preview videos to talk about stuff like this that's going on the main roster, because I don't have main roster reviews. We will go into this in a lot more detail. We will talk about, you know, Seth and Becky and people's mixed opinions on that. I like Seth and Becky. Feel free to hate me in the comment section. But we will address all that at that point. So that's 2 weeks away. Please tune in for that. Me / Kristen / Guapo / two of the three of us anyway. Maybe they'll do it and I'll sit out. That's not going to happen because it's my channel, I don't think. Anyways, I don't know. But I'm getting ahead of myself because this Thursday, it's probably going to go live on Friday, but this Thursday I'll be sitting down to talk to my buddy Guapo once again because he's my AEW guy and he happened to be at Fyter Fest, so we are going to get from the horse's mouth, so to speak, everything that happened at Fyter Fest. Everything from the famous chair shot to the hardcore match to the weird dude in the first or second match that fought a game guy and oiled himself up again, and that's wrestling apparently. We're gonna get Guapo's thoughts and reactions from the actual show itself, from being there. I can't wait for that. It's going to be really, really good. I don't know how much of a review it's going to be. It's always... I don't review pay-per-views, and you guys know this, but if I can come at it from a different angle, like I did Double or Nothing from the angle of, hey, here's some things that they did that I don't think WWE got away with if they did the exact same thing. That's an angle that I can come at it from. I'm coming at it more simply at this point with Guapo because he happened to be there. I want to get the opinion of the person that was there. So please don't make a mistake and say that I'm going to start doing pay-per-view reviews all of a sudden, because that's not necessarily going to be the case. It's going to be very case by case. You guys know, much like Raw and SmackDown in a sense, I don't review them the same way I come up here and talk about NXT, etc., because I want to enjoy the show. It's, unfortunately, not to sound crass, it's why I stopped doing the pay-per-view pick'em, because I was spending more time on that than I was enjoying the show. But if we can have a casual conversation about it a couple days later, and I can bounce off people, etc., that is an entirely different thing. So, that's it. Me and Guapo talking about Fyter Fest this week. Next week, me and somebody are going to talk about Extreme Rules and all the cool stuff that may or may not happen. And on my notes here, I've just got all the other stuff. You guys know. Go up in the annotation up above. Check out all my playlists for NXT, NXT UK. Back when I used to review other shows, check out the topical videos, the previous pay-per-view previews, etc. And the Q&A is up there. And the Q&A is also going to be at in that little icon thing at the end of the screen, when it's probably going to be right about, what is it, right about here or so. Put your questions down in the box below if you want to be addressed either, as we said before, just before or just after SummerSlam. You guys know SummerSlam is going to be a huge week for me. I'm going to be at Icons too. I'm going to be at TakeOver Toronto. I'm going to be at SummerSlam, Raw, and SmackDown. If you are going to be at any of those shows, Icons 2 is taking place here in Mississauga. The rest of them obviously taking place at Scotiabank Arena in Toronto. If you're going to be at any of those shows, please feel free to let me know. Come up and say hello, you know, tell me, hey, I love your videos, or hey, I think you're an idiot and you talk shit. Either way, it would be really, really cool. It would make my friggin' life if I walk randomly up into a show and just see somebody that even recognizes me from YouTube, because I do not delude myself. I am not a huge name in this community. I have you guys. You guys are fucking wonderful, and I don't thank you enough. But I am not... I'm not a good mic work. I'm not a Joe Cronin. I'm not an OK Fabe. I'm just me, and I do my thing, and some of you happen to like it. If any of you ever end up at the same show as me, come up, give me a high five, buy me a drink, I'll buy you one, and we'll be even. That would make my fucking life. I'm not going to lie. So, the Q&A, I'm not going to guarantee before SummerSlam, but sometime around SummerSlam, either the week of or the week after, because I will be off. I've booked off basically from the Friday to the following Wednesday. And Wednesday, I really think I'm just going to be sleeping. I will be putting up highlights throughout you guys know how I do the slideshows, the little tiny hey, this is what I thought of this. I'll throw up some videos throughout the week, if there's anything worth videoing. As I've said, at Icons, it's going to be SCU versus OVE. It's going to be our champion, Josh Alexander, who at the moment has put out an open challenge. Channing Decker's in a hardcore match, but I'm pretty sure he's also going to cash in on Alexander. We're going to see Tenille Dashwood, the former WWE's Emma. I'm going to see Joey Ryan live for the first time. That's going to be interesting. I really hope Tenille Dashwood is taking on Shotzi Blackheart, but that has not been announced. That's enough ramble. We got to talk about NXT UK. NXT UK also happened today. I'm doing this in the abridged form, as I've been doing the past couple of weeks, because I don't have it in me to do 2 separate videos on a Wednesday. I just don't. I don't have the time. I don't have the not the energy, but I don't have the ability to cut and edit one video, cut and edit 2 videos, and get them out to you guys at the appropriate time. I really did try. I was doing the whole thing where I would do it the next day sometimes, but my Thursdays are occasionally taken up, and I don't have the time available. So NXT UK is still taking place at the Download Festival, which I think is really cool. I've been saying it for the past 3 weeks. It gives it a really, really different feeling. They're in that tent, and I don't know if I've mentioned this before, but the commentators for NXT UK at Download have been Vic Joseph and Aiden English. And this is not a dig at Nigel McGuinness. I love him on regular NXT, but I wouldn't mind this being the NXT UK commentary going forwards. Rhea Ripley starts off the show calling out Piper Niven. They're supposed to have a match later in the night, and she wants to get it started now, which is a really good thing because Download is a rock festival, and Rhea Ripley is a rocker, if nothing else. She's over as hell. The response she gets, figured that it's an open thing, right? Like it's a tent. It's not an enclosed building. It's not a huge crowd. So the pop that she gets, if you consider all those things, is huge. Niven obviously accepts. They have a match. It's a brawl. It's a great brawl. There's a really, really nasty spot where Ripley is thrown out to the outside, and I think she snaps her head off of the guardrail in a way not intended, and I thought that they were going to stop the match because that's what happened with her and Toni Storm. But it went on. Seeing her lock Piper Niven in the that standing figure 4 that she does looked really, really badass. And I don't say this against Piper Niven because I like Piper Niven, but Piper Niven's a big girl. Getting her in that standing submission was a nice little spot. Niven did eventually beat her with the Michinoku driver, which is equally as impressive. Ragdolled Rhea Ripley, who's no small person herself, and it's all really, really good. Rhea Ripley, like I can't say it anymore, is over as hell. You just can't do it. I love this match because I love both people in it, and if you like both people, the match is just better. It just is. Piper Niven has a lot going for her. She's a great in-ring technician for the... She's one of those surprising... I don't want to say surprising, but like... She catches you off guard. Sort of like Tyler Bate is so small, you don't expect him to be as powerful as he is. Piper Niven, for the size of her, is way more agile than you would imagine. Way quicker than you would imagine. And she's got all this great, interesting psychological, technical stuff going for her. Now, those are all the idiosyncrasies that you can diagnose within Piper Niven. Rhea Ripley comes out, on the other hand, and it has all those things, but Rhea Ripley is a fucking star. She is the perfect counter to Toni Storm. Toni Storm's a star in her own right. If we, for some reason, and I don't wish this out on the world whatsoever, Becky Lynch, if something terrible were to happen to Becky Lynch, you could pluck Toni Storm out of NXT UK right now. Put Toni Storm in Becky Lynch's spot. They're not the same, but they could fill the same role. And Rhea Ripley on the heel side is the exact same. You come out, even if you don't think she's the greatest wrestler, and I do think she's a great wrestler, she's a fucking star. She grabs your attention, she makes you take notice, and she destroys people, which is why somebody like Piper Niven coming out being the Avenger, so to speak, is such a good thing. If we get more than one women's match on the card at TakeOver Cardiff, I would love to see this match again on a pay-per-view stage. I really, really would, because as cool as the Download Festival scenario is, the setting is, I would love to see this in a proper arena in front of a proper crowd because it deserves it. It's really good. Noam Dar attacked Kenny Williams on the outside, continuing their story. They were partners, then Noam Dar turned, then Noam Dar wanted his help in a match, then he beat him up in the mud because they're at a rock show. Moving on, we got another video package for Ilya Dragunov. I'm not pronouncing that correctly at all. WWE does video packages, and they're good. Alexander Wolf debuts. He's part of Imperium now. It's cool to see him. It's really weird to see him not in the getup that he was in Insanity, where he had like it was a tank top, but then it had like a binder thing in the middle, and then he had his like pants, like the raggedy pants, because all of people in Insanity had raggedy clothes for reasons. He beat up Jack Stars because Jack Stars is their like make everybody else look good guy, which is good because Alexander Wolf needs to look good. He's in a faction. It's fine. Jazzy Gabber destroyed some jobbers. It really wasn't that great. I don't. She's playing Diesel to Ginny's Shawn Michaels, and I don't really like Ginny. You guys have seen me when I've done proper NXT UK reviews before. I struggle to care about Ginny. I don't think she's a bad wrestler by any stretch of the imagination, and I hate her, which means I guess she's doing her job, but I don't hate her. I wish I hated her. Like, I don't care, and if Jazzy Gabbert's here to be her muscle, then it's one more layer removed of just me not caring. They did an exclusive interview with Cassius Ohno that I fast forwarded through because I don't care about Cassius Ohno on my television. I just don't. We get the announcement that Dave Mastiff and The Hunt are going to take on Gallus in a 6-man tag next week, which should be really, really good. You got 6 bruisers that are going to pound the shit out of each other. It's all good. Mustache Mountain versus the Grizzled Young Veterans was interrupted by Imperium, so we got no finish in that match. I'm hoping that the rematch of that will take place at TakeOver Cardiff, because Mustache Mountain and the Grizzled Young Vets just work really well together. The crowd during this 4-on-2 beatdown were chanting for Pete Dunne, who wasn't there, which is great. So they handcuff Trent Seven to the ring post and beat up Tyler Bate on the outside. The great thing about all this is Imperium are there to back up Walter. Walter is huge. Walter is a monster. In these segments where he's there with his buddies and they've all got their matching tracksuits on, he's lost already. And people are going to think that I'm crazy for saying this in the comment section because I know Walter is like ridiculously popular. He's lost all his bigness, his imposing presence and all that sort. His cool entrance with the black and the spotlight and that classical piece that I can never remember the name of. It lost all its impact because that's the music that Alexander Wolf came out to earlier in the show, and that once it's everybody's music, it's not Walter's music anymore. It's sort of like a reverse Hardy Boys effect. Once it became Jeff Hardy's music, it wasn't the Hardy Boys music anymore, and this is the opposite of that. And he just looks like a goober. He looks like a goober that needs a 4-on-2 advantage to destroy Mustache Mountain, British Strong Style, etc. Whereas when they introduced him, they presented him as a guy who could have swatted these guys away by himself. So they've taken away a lot of his mystique and his imposing nature, etc., which isn't great. But what I do like is right before the show went off the air, the chant being thrown at all the members of Imperium was "Walters, bitches." And that made me laugh a whole lot, because that's what you've done to all of these guys. This group that could have been really cool. I thought it was really cool that they took Marcel Barthel and Fabian Eichner as a tag team and made them part of a group. I thought it was great that they weren't using Sanity on Raw or SmackDown, so they repurposed Alexander Wolf. Thought that was great. Walter looked like a beast, and I've sort of lost my faith in all of them. I want all of them to get out of the way because I actually want the match that they interrupted. I don't know if that's the reaction they were going for. So NXT UK this week, really, really mixed bag, I'm not going to lie. But getting into NXT proper for July 3rd, 2019, we got Mia Yim versus Aaliyah, which is fine. 2 girls that I really like. Aaliyah is my hometown girl, so I got to cheer for her at least a little bit. Just send her out there in a Raptors hat. She'll be fine. Versus Mia Yim, who's awesome, I've said it before and I'll say it again, she is this generation's Lita, just with the way her attitude and the swagger that she comes out with now. It's in a different way. It's got a sort of the urban kick to it, whereas Lita was much more of a, almost like a rock rave type of image, like along with the Hardy Boys, obviously. She's got this much more urban version of that, but she's the girl that wrestles in jeans while the rest of them are all there in their ring gear, is the thing. She comes out with the backwards hat and all that sort of thing. Aaliyah is still partnered up with Vanessa Bourne, who I couldn't be paid to give a fuck about, which is really, really unfortunate. And she's on the outside, you know, barking and chirping and trying to make herself relevant, while 2 people I actually care about are in the ring. Sad for her, great for the match. Front Slam by Yim to start, the shoulder tackle and a dropkick. Yim eats the post face first. Series of kicks by Aaliyah. Running bulldog by Aaliyah by the hair. Boot and a tarantula by Yim. Enziguri by Aaliyah. Surfboard stretch with a post by Aaliyah. Aaliyah eats the turnbuckle and a cannonball by Yim. Clothesline by Yim. Kicks in an overhead suplex by Yim. Suicide dive by Yim, followed by a fall-away slam. The protect your neck, which is a stupid name for a finisher, I'm not going to lie. It's basically a one-need code breaker to the side of the head. She was doing the soul food eat defeat thing, which is a better move in my personal opinion, but I really, really like Mia Yim, and she got the win here, which is really good. I'm still hoping to see her at TakeOver Toronto. Come on, wrestling gods. And what I love about this is she disposes of Aaliyah, and then she just sees Vanessa Bourne on the outside, chucks her into the stairs on her way out, just because. That made me laugh. That's cool. It's like, why not take out one more while I'm here? That was great. You see highlights from the cage match last week and Io Shirai turning on Candice LeRae. I've seen some shots of heel Io Shirai, and damn. Moving on. We get this really weird thing in the back where we have William Regal trying to be interviewed about that whole scenario, and he's interrupted by the Forgotten Sons, who say they want a title shot just because Street Profits are the champions doesn't mean they should decide when title matches happen, and we want to be pushed to the front of the line. How come if they can make a title match, how come we can't make a title match? Regal just looks at I love this thing that Regal does, and I don't want to be like that, but it really is like a British thing where he talks to them like he's confused, but really he's just pointing out how stupid they are, and he's like, well, you had your opportunity and you got yourself disqualified. I'm not going to do a British accent because I'll ruin it, but basically like, so you had your opportunity and now you're at the back of the queue. And they threaten him, and they stand there, and Jackson Riker sits there and strokes his beard, because that's what he does, and then they leave, and he announces that the Street Profits have given Lorcan and Burch an opportunity at those tag team titles next week. Now, at this point, I do want to say it was cool to see the Street Profits on Raw. I thought it was really, really funny that the graphics department showed a still shot of them right at the beginning of the show, so when they showed up later on, it was not a surprise whatsoever. I'm sure somebody got a fine over that, but they didn't do anything. They cut a promo in the back, which is fine, and I thought they were going to have like an exhibition match, have them against the New Day or some bullshit like that, and no, not for the reasons that you're going to accuse me of saying that. You people with your accusations can fuck off and all. But then they had another promo later on in the night where they were like fucking with Paul Heyman on screen, and I'm just like, okay, all right. Paul Heyman, you know, he'll put himself down to put somebody else over, so when they're just sitting there fucking with him and he's just sitting there and taking it, and he goes to leave and he gets blocked, and he just says, well, I'm gonna go this way then. You know, like I'm going to try and still sound like I'm in charge of my own life, whereas here's two guys that could kick the shit out of me. I really hope that doesn't end in Brock Lesnar just coming out and squashing the Street Profits in a handicap match, because that's the kind of thing that would happen on the main roster. But Brock Lesnar wasn't there, so Heyman didn't have any backup, so Heyman had to scurry away like the little twerp that he is. My point in all this big ramble that just looks like I'm looking all over the place because I didn't write it down, I just thought of it. Why were they on the show? Other than to say, hi, we're Montez and Angelo, and we're the belts, but not on this show, and we're going to fuck with Heyman, and that's going to be enough. I don't know. I hope they're not coming up to the main roster, because that'll be the second team in as many call-ups that have had to immediately vacate the titles because they're on a different show now. And let's be real for a second, main roster will ruin them like they ruin everybody else. My chair's doing a thing. Excuse me for, shuffling. I'm half the time I really hope that you guys just listen to this like it's a podcast, because I don't give you very much visually in this display here. You're in my room with me. I've got enough light that I'm not completely standing here in a shadow. Treat it like a podcast, open up a new window, do some searches, check your Facebook statuses, whatever. Just listen to me like it's a podcast. I lost my place because I was rambling. Quality content on this channel. Kushida versus Jeff Parker, which is basically a jobber match. So let's go through this really, really quickly. Just because I like Kushida, I'll even talk about his squash matches. Single leg takedown and a front face lock by Kushida. Gator roll and mounted elbow shots by Kushida. Side headlock into a back elbow by Kushida. Standing arm bar working over the ribs by Kushida. Standing over him, got him in the arm bar, working the elbow, the point of the elbow into the ribs. Parker gets up, gets one forearm in. Spoiler alert, that's his only offense in the whole match. Cartwheel off the ropes into a low drop kick by Kushida. Hard forearm shot to the face by Kushida. Hoverboard lock by Kushida that they're calling something else this week that I can't pronounce because it's in Japanese and I don't want to be disrespectful and I don't want to mispronounce shit. You guys know how it is. I try to be a nice guy. Don't believe what you hear. Kushida gets the obvious win. And we find out that in the back, that promo that I really didn't know what it was last week, where it was just somebody watching random videotape footage of Carnage and whatnot, is actually Killian Dane. And Killian Dane is coming back to NXT. Now, this is really cool. Look at Sanity. Like, really, really look at Sanity. The four of them. Nikki Cross is going to get herself a SmackDown title shot eventually. Eric Young is chasing the 24/7 title with Drake Maverick and R-Truth. Alexander Wolf is in NXT UK in Imperium, which I hope is going to do something good for him, but I'm really not sure after this week. And Killian Dane is coming back home to NXT. Who got the better end of that deal? It's going to be Killian Dane and Nikki Cross, isn't it? They're a married couple. So they, you get married in WWE or you hook up with somebody. Look at Becky and Seth. The couples are making it right now. I don't even know what I'm saying. I want Killian Dane to do good. I want to see Killian Dane come in and just fuck up somebody. I would love to see Killian Dane step over to NXT UK just for a little bit to mix it up with guys like Dave Mastiff and the Coffee Brothers and Wolfgang and all that, just because, you know, big dudes fighting. That's what it is. Isaiah Swerve Scott takes on Cameron Grimes. Now, Isaiah Swerve Scott, I believe, used to be Shane Strickland. Somebody correct me down in the box below. Cameron Grimes, I don't know who he used to be. This is the breakout tournament that they did. And I've come to the conclusion after only 2 matches of the first round that if I cheer for you, you're not going to win. That's what's happening in the breakout tournament. The breakout tournament is NXT flipping a big black and yellow bird right to me. Oh, look at it. Middle finger. Kofi Kingston's cool because he flipped the bird on SmackDown. No, he's not. Moving on. Waist lock by Grimes, a reverse side headlock by Scott. Armbar by Grimes, a reverse kneeling armbar by Scott. Forearm shots to the back by Grimes. Head scissor and a dropkick by Scott and straight right hand. Top rope elbow to the back of the head by Scott. Now, this was interesting because you had Grimes sort of sitting up with his back towards Scott. Scott came off the top rope and twisted and hit an elbow to the back of his head. It was a really weird, awkward thing, and it's one of those things, among many, many others, that I have a very hard time describing to you guys because it doesn't do really good for verbal description. Armbar by Scott, running kitchen sink by Grimes. Grimes steps on his face and follows it up with a chin lock. Lariat by Grimes, chin lock and an chin lock armbar combo by Grimes. Leaping top rope Hurricane Rana by Scott. Jesus Christ, the vertical leap on this guy is amazing. Rolling clotheslines by Scott and a splash on the head. He's got Grimes face down. He comes off the rope, splash, and it's a... I was about to say it's like a frog splash, but it's not because he doesn't do the flex bit of it. I don't know why I'm doing hand things. I just don't know. This is why I tell you to listen to it like it's a podcast. But the straight, like Snuka splash almost. But he does it on the back of his head and it just looks really, really weird. Flatliner by Scott, deadlift powerbomb by Grimes. The deadlift powerbomb by Grimes looked like it was going to be the win. I'm not going to lie. Series of strikes by Scott and followed by a suicide senton. But a pop-up double stomp to the chest gets the win for Cameron Grimes, and he's going to go on to face Bronson Reed or Dexter Loomis. You don't know? I don't know either. I really wanted Scott to win, but then again, I wanted Joaquin Wilde to win last week, so I'm not allowed to have fun in this tournament. That is what NXT is telling me. Bianca Belair made her big return. Yay! To squash some jobber. Moving on. Strong versus Breeze is your main event. I'm not gonna lie, I'm gonna totally peel back the curtain here. Originally, when I do my little opening thing before the video, you guys know how it works by now. I was going to make a hurricane joke. I was going to make a Hurricane Helms joke, and I was gonna do the whole stand back. There's a strong breeze coming through. And I thought better of it, but I thought I'd at least tell you that that was something that you might have seen. Yes, that's a shitty joke. This is what you come to expect from this channel. And, well, that and me reminding you that Naomi still sucks. Collar and elbow tie-up and a single leg takedown by Strong and an armbar. Armbar is reversed by Breeze into a trip and a key lock by Strong. Side headlock. by Strong, and he's spinning backbreaker by Breeze, a mudhole by Breeze, clubs to the back by Strong, dropkick by Breeze, a right hand, and they trade some punches on the outside. Strong hits 2 wicked backbreakers in a row, and here is where, if I haven't done it already, I have to put my immense apology out to Roderick Strong and his fans. When he started, I thought, when I heard Messiah of the Backbreaker, I thought that's going to be a cheesy-ass gimmick. He's just going to do backbreakers every match, and it's going to be like the Young Bucks with a super kick. He's going to drive it right into the ground. When really what he's done is he's taken the backbreaker and he's made it his version of the RKO, where he hits it from anywhere and everywhere, and it's always creative and all that sort of thing. So, Roderick Strong... Sorry, Roderick Strong's fans. I'm sorry. That's an apology a long time coming. But one backbreaker on the edge of the steel steps and another backbreaker, a backdrop style backbreaker on the security rail, which is painful, not only just because it is, but also because the difference between NXT and WWE. WWE has those big square padded things. They're not even rails anymore. They're like a full... protective wall, and yeah, I'm sure it hurts to be thrown into them, no doubt, but it's a flat surface and it is somewhat padded. We've seen that when they take them apart. But NXT has the old school interlocking sections of actual guardrail, and it works on a bunch of levels because it's a smaller thing, so you're not landing on a flat thing. I don't know why I'm doing hand things, because this should really be a podcast, shouldn't it? But if you're not landing on a flat thing, if you're landing on something that's like this rather than something like this, it's going to impact your body more directly. And also, from an aesthetic point of view, because they're separate interlocking pieces, if you hit those rails in any way, shape, or form, the sections of rail hit against each other. The sound is greater. It adds to the effect. It adds to the theater of the wrestling. It's just one of about a million ways that NXT is better than the main roster. Subtle little things like that. The devil is in the details. That expression exists for a reason. But this was cool. Backdrop off the steps, backdrop off the rail. It's like when you see big wrestlers throw a guy into the apron, turn around, throw him into the rail, turn around, throw him into the apron, turn around, throw him into the rail. That spot with backbreakers on steel. So really not that spot at all. I'm sorry. It's tired in here. Stomps to the midsection by Strong, taking advantage of the damage that he's just done to the midsection. They trade some more punches. Dropkick by Strong, a surfboard stretch with a chin lock, which is really, really nice. He's got him all bent back and all arched back, and he laces his fingers around the face and chin, and he's just adding all kinds of submission-style pain to what he's doing, to the psychology that he's already done to the back. It's brilliant. Boot by Breeze, a jawbreaker and some right hands. Enziguri by Breeze and a forearm off the apron. Rolling backstabber by Breeze. He sort of gets him from the side and gets it in the side of the ribs, etc. Follows that up with a simple boot. Top rope step up Enziguri by Strong. Top rope superplex by Strong and a mule kick by Breeze when he tries to get up. Super kick by Breeze. Back to trading some more... I was about to say trading more countries. Trading more punches. There we go. Enziguri by Breeze, but then... Bobby Fish comes down because we can't have nice thing. He's on the apron. He gets kicked off the apron. He tosses Strong right out of the ring, but Strong's immediately back in. The moment, the mini scintilla of a second of distraction created by Bobby Fish allows him to hit the end of Heartache, which is a fucking marvelous maneuver, is it not? That and there's a match from ages and ages and ages ago that I saw on YouTube, and it's just... Roderick Strong and Cedric Alexander. It's just a flurry of the end of Heartache and the lumbar check. Just over and over and over again, hitting them all kinds of... Those two maneuvers, for as similar as they are amazing, and they don't get focused because Roderick Strong doesn't usually get focused like this. He's part of the group. It's sort of like the guys in Imperium. They all got absorbed. They are all part of the group now. But when you see Roderick Strong hit the end of Heartache, because he's just swatting you out of the air when he pulls off that maneuver, isn't he? Anyway, Strong does get the win, and Undisputed Era pose on the rampway. Everybody except Adam Cole, who I didn't mention, is still on his Adam Cole Championship celebration tour and whatever, and he went to the Gargano Bakery, and he went to the Gargano Gym, where Gargano himself had been just a little while ago, trying to, instill hope in all the new trainees, telling them they could be like him one day. Adam Cole basically ripping their hearts out. I was like, you can't be like me, because Johnny shouldn't have even been like me. He got lucky. Anybody can get lucky. You guys, here's some pizza. Go home and watch me wrestle, because you won't get there. Heartbreaking stuff. Heartbreaking in that it really, really made me laugh because I'm a terrible, terrible person kind of way. Lots to talk about. Like I say, we got lots coming up. We got Guapo talking about Fighter Fest. We got me, Guapo, and Kristen talking about Extreme Rules. We got a lot of fun stuff leading into SummerSlam. Throw your stuff in the Q&A. You guys know the drill by now. As you can probably tell, I'm already losing my voice and I'm about to sneeze again. So I've been Spaz, your YWC Reality Check. Subscribe up there, talk down there, start a conversation, keep all these conversations going. Don't be a stranger. I'll talk to each and every last one of you later. But for right now, I am tagging out. Bye, guys.